Hello chess community, how are you doing? I hope this is a good evening, good day, good morning for you wherever you are. Let me know in the chat on Chess24 where you are from. You know that I always want to know it. I'm in Spain. It's already 6:30 and it's dark. Winter weather, I've got my tea, ready for the Banter Blitz. Today, if you follow me every week, you know that today we are going to play as many games as possible. I'll try to explain the games in depth during the games, but the post-mortem will be shorter. So today, more games, and I'm still waiting for some of the names, how you would call this kind of show. So Banter Blitz with Anna, but one of the week, it's always going to be more about teaching, about learning together. And like today, it's going to be more about playing. So last week, you guys told me a couple of really cool suggestions, and I'm still waiting for some more candidates, and then I will just look at the entire list and decide how to call these special segments. So one would be Teacher Anna, or if you can give me a better name, go for it. And the sessions where we play more games, I don't know which one is the best so far. Couple of good suggestions I've heard. If you have a new idea, let me know in the chat here on Chess24 or on YouTube in the comments down below. We are playing on Chess24. If you are not there yet, please head to chess24.com. Oh, this is my YouTube video. This is the previous session, and today we are playing on Chess24. This is my test game against Claudia. That's how I test the board. You need to type in chess24.com in your browser and then click on the show. In case you are watching on YouTube, please let me know about joining us here on Chess24. I can only read the chat here on Chess24 during the stream. So this is where we are. I'm reading this chat. Thanks guys for the suggestions. I'm gonna read now all the comments and challenge me for a 5-minute blitz game right now, because today we should play as many games as possible. I'm gonna pause this video, but you guys keep on watching, please stay here. I'm here and I'm going to accept the first challenge. Just a big shout out to everyone here on Chess24, to all the premium members especially. You know that we have much love for everyone who supports Chess24 by purchasing the premium membership. By the way, talking of that, you know that we have a special discount this way, right? Never know where to point. 15% off by using the voucher code Anna, A-N-N-A. Make sure to write my name with 2 N's. In Spain, they usually write it with 1 N, and that's incorrect in my case. 2 N's, that's the voucher code. 15% off at the checkout. So whether it's a monthly purchase or a yearly membership, 3-year membership, you will get 15% off with this voucher code, Anna. Now let's accept the first challenge and see who is going to be my opponent today. For the first game, I've got 26 challenges, 5-minute blitz game. I'm gonna mix it up and try to pick someone who I haven't played yet. I always try to go for people who haven't had the chance to play against me yet. I think we haven't played yet Struma, so I'm going to accept your challenge first and bring up the chessboard because we will need it. Loading. I think my internet is struggling today. Hope I will make it to the game and not lose on this connection. That would be a bit of a shame, right? On air. Playing with the white pieces. Anna is happy. E4, let's go. Do you guys play E4 or D4? G6, wow, I don't think I had Pirk set up or G6 on first move in my Banter Blitz session. So this I'm expecting him to play D6 later on, and then it's going to be like a Pirk defense. You can play with F4 or Knight F3, that's more solid. There are several approaches depending on your style. You can place your pieces the way you like. But of course, this is a very solid and very interesting position usually, so don't underestimate the Pirk. I'm just playing for a very solid setup, developing my minor pieces first, and castling kingside. If he wants to push b5 later on, like c6, b5, I will stop it by pushing a4. I don't want black to expand on the queen side. And now you need to think what to do with the other bishop. Bishop e3, knight steps into knight g4, so you might want to go first h3 And then you can also play bishop f4 and you have more space here on this diagonal. Okay, I was not in time to play bishop f4 because he already went for e5. Now what I can do, and I will do, is to capture here, which is really solid, really very solid, but I'm just trying to get a position that is playing against this bishop on g7. So you see that my bishop is somewhat better, especially the dark squared bishop. The piece that I don't have so well placed is my c3 knight. As funny as it may sound, this piece is not well placed on c3 with the pawn on c6. I would rather have it elsewhere, not on c3. So I need to regroup my pieces, and I would need a square for my queen as well. Let's play first bishop c4 and then place the queen on e2. And in the future, I would love to have this knight somewhere else, as I was saying. Maybe expand on the queen side, a5, knight a4 could be a possible option once I have this e4 pawn protected. And of course, black will not just stay the way it is right now with his pieces. He's going to maneuver his pieces. You see that he's trying to go knight f4 next move. So I think he's doing fine, trying to provoke me, push g3, weaken the h3 pawn. Now, if he plays knight, if I allow knight f4 and take it, that would awaken his g7 bishop. So that is his idea. It's a smart idea because I don't want to allow knight f4, but maybe I'll have to. I don't want to allow that move. I've stepped into it with queen e2. If I play g3, as I was saying, it weakens the h3 pawn. Can I live with that weakness? Then he will move the knight and my pawn will be hanging. This is a tricky move. Well, the other option I have, it looks ugly, but I can start. Okay, I will start maneuvering this knight away to give some room for my queen on f3. So if knight f4, I'm going to play queen f3, threatening the knight. I'm expecting there g5. So black would be aiming for a kingside play, knight f4, g5, and I might be heading to b3 with my knight, but oh, knight c5 is surprising. I thought his idea was knight f4. Now, what does he want? Okay, I'm gonna play knight b3 because, okay, he wants to play knight e6, I get that, but he was already okay playing knight f4 immediately and g5. So actually, I think he's still aiming for the same, a knight on f4 and then g5, but he wants to support it immediately with his other knight from e6. Now, I was not going to suggest that immediately for black because I thought he wanted to develop the light squared bishop first. So I was slightly surprised that he went for this. And now just trading pieces. Interesting. If I take it, I wish I could just take and then take advantage of the c5 square. Okay, let's try. I'll take a5 and knight a4. I'm aiming toward the c5 square. I don't just want to play bishop c5. I would love to have my knight on c5 and not the bishop. So I don't think that these trade of pieces, the last few trades of pieces, were so good for black. I think he could have kept the knight, and the light square bishop of black was more useful than my bishop. You see that now the difference between the two bishops is that my one is more active than the g7 bishop, so I like the remaining pieces, but I should hurry up. I should definitely hurry up. Okay, let's head to c5 with my knight and hurry up, Anna. Come on. You are so slow today. So slow. Very slow. Okay, I'm gonna jump in here, attack the b7 pawn. It's good to have an advanced pawn because now b6, I can take it. You see, he doesn't want to. I can push a6, then b6. Or let's just first bring the rook to the open file as we learned it. I have the only open file, the d file. I might double rooks on the d file later on, or push a6. You see, he wants to get rid of my beautiful knight, and he's also threatening a trade of queens. Let's go for it. I like endgames, but I don't know if I will let him trade immediately. Bishop takes knight d7. The bishop moves back, so I'm not sure I achieve much with that. All right, let's come here. It's just a slightly better endgame, but I'm running out of time. So I'm aiming for either bringing the rook to b3 or doubling rooks with rook d3. This is a multi-purpose move. And now he wants to trade. Smart. But is it correct? Oh, I'm too slow now. Too slow. I didn't have to take, but if he goes back now to e6, I'm taking that knight and capturing the pawn on a7. That's why I took on d8. And he goes for it, so I'm gonna win this pawn. Pawn up, but no time. Then I obviously need to create a passed pawn. c3, b4 could come later. Let's go here because it's always nice to have a rook on the 7th rank. Actually, capturing the b7 pawn and then pushing the a pawn is the easiest way of promoting here. A passed pawn, not c3, b4, that's too slow. So once I have the b7 pawn, it's just clearly winning. You just push the a pawn and black will have to sacrifice a piece for it. Of course, oh, I forgot I haven't taken on b7 yet. Sometimes it happens. Has it ever happened to you that you know already the whole line, you calculated it, and you want to play the second move of your calculated variation? It happened to me a few times. Oh, Struma, you are a gentleman because you resigned when I had not much time on the clock, so I have 52 seconds to win this endgame. Of course, it's winning for white, and it's even very difficult for black to give up material for the pawn. Like, you need to bring back the rook to the back rank. But even then, a7, rook e8, and white goes rook b8. So black can't even give up his rook for the pawn, which is of course just a lost position. But I thought you might want it to try to play on because of the lack of my time. I think 52 seconds is still enough. But who knows? You didn't try to win on time, so I really appreciate it. You are a gentleman, Struma. Thank you for the game. I think it was very exciting and you played very well up until the end. Since today is a play many games with Anna, we will not look into it very deeply, but I think until here it was all fine. Even rook d8 is maybe okay still, but here it starts to become very difficult because after rook d3 you can't bring the knight back. Perhaps rook e8, but then I have rook d7. So yeah, maybe rook d8 is the only mistake you made, basically. Just simply forgetting about the a7 pawn, that it would be hanging later on. Thank you for the game, it's been a pleasure, and I will go now for the next challenge. You know that today we will play loads and loads of games and I don't even have time to look at the chat. How will I look at the chat like this? Guys, I will try, while I'm accepting a challenge, I will try to look at the chat. Okay, challenges. Let's see the challenges. I see that you guys agree with me that Struma is a gentleman. Thank you for the game once again. And really, you played very well. I think rook d8 was the only mistake, basically. Also, I liked knight h5 and knight f4. That was a very good idea. Maybe you could have continued with that knight f4 and g5. And I think black has a good position there. I think you did very well. I think I haven't played against you yet, Graf von Palen. So I'm looking forward to your challenge. Playing with the white pieces again. Wow, it's not even my birthday. e4. Still e4, and let's see which Sicilian do you play, Mr. Graf von Palen. The Neidorf. The Neidorf. Don't tell me that you have watched all the videos produced by Sopico, because that means I'm in trouble. Sopico has a very, very well analyzed video series on the Neidorf, but this is not the Neidorf. So, shall I be relieved or not? I'm not sure if I should be so happy about not seeing the Neidorf. I like to play with bishop c4 against many variations, in the Sicilian. You can check against which openings you can play this and which ones are the positions where it's not that useful to have your bishop on c4. But in a couple of positions, it's actually an interesting variation to play with bishop c4. Then bishop e3, you can castle kingside or queenside depending on how brave you are. And against a6, you can decide whether you want to push a4. b5 is not an immediate threat, but in general you will want to see what do you want to do. You might just wait, of course. Let's just castle first, see how black develops his pieces. You can place the queen on e2, bring the rook to d1, play f4. This is just a very normal setup, which I like to play because it's easy to play. It's nothing special, of course. Now, next move of black could be queen c7, so I'm already preparing for having to prevent b5. And also the bishop on c4 is not very ideal. I place it there because in many variations I do play bishop c4. But you don't want to have it always on c4. You will have to move it. It's just a temporary place for the bishop. I just want to have it on the a2, g8 diagonal, not on c4. As you see, it steps into like knight e5. After queen c7, it also would have been sort of in the air. So it's better to place the bishop on b3 or a2 after black has finished his development. Now, since he has played knight e5, after f4, I expect him to go knight g4. For that reason, I will play first king h1, which is useful whenever you want to push f4. You prepare this f4 push by placing your king on h1, so you will never have trouble on the a7 g1 diagonal. And now if he plays knight g4, my idea is to place my bishop on g1. As funny as it may look, after bishop g1 in that position, imagine the knight now jumping to g4, I go to g1, and I think in that position black is getting into trouble, because next move we are threatening h3, and where shall the knight return to? So knight g4 looks like an active, strong move, but it's only a one-move threat. Now it's time to bring a rook to d1. Am I blundering the e4 pawn, really? Okay, that was nice, Anna. The e4 pawn is just hanging. I forgot about my pawn. Happens. It happens, and he takes it. He's not afraid. Of course, I didn't have a trap here. I mean, now I should look for some kind of a way to compensate. Let's have a pair of bishops for the pawn, for the blundered pawn. And now let's push. Let's push f5, I think. So, once you blunder, try to create activity for your loss of material. Of course, I forgot about my pawn on e4, so I'm not pretending that this was a sacrifice. But now that I have blundered it, I should be smart, and I should somehow create compensation for that pawn. Now, after e5, I'm happy with the light pieces, the light squares. Of course, light pieces, light squares. Bishop d5 would be optimal for me, but first, let's place this knight on f3. I was thinking of knight e6 actually, but it didn't work. It could be taken, and then I don't have anything for the sacrificed piece, I guess. So, knight f3, next move bishop d5. And actually, it's not as bad as it seemed in the moment when I blundered my pawn. Happens. This is the kind of thing that the moment before I played f4, I knew that my pawn was hanging, but then I forgot it. Has it ever happened to you guys? Now, if bishop d5, he wants to play knight f6. I get it. Let's play first c3, because that pawn will never be hanging later on, and I might place this bishop on c2. Who knows? I like the d5 square, of course, but bishop d5, knight f6, he would be threatening my bishop. I wish I could just transport this knight to d5 somehow. Illegal, of course, but if I could, I would be happy. Now, if bishop d5, he will place the other bishop. Why I'm calling now the pieces on different names? So if I had played bishop d5, he wanted to go knight f6. That's what I wanted to say. He's doing well. He has a pawn up, and he managed to kick my bishop off of the a2 g8 diagonal. But I still need to create some kind of a counterplay for the pawn. The other version would have been if I somehow managed to push g4, g5, but I'm not that kind of player. Maybe I should have tried. Maybe with the pawn on f5, of course, it's a good idea normally to launch a pawn storm. But with the king on the same side, it's risky. So first I'm trying to attack with the pieces and not the pawns, which is what you normally do when you castle on the same flank. Now, since I have already blundered a pawn, probably I should have taken more risk and prepared g4, g5. Maybe that was the good idea, not knight g5, because now with the knight on g5, it's even more difficult to push g4. You see, he doesn't let me. He's playing well. He is now aiming for the control of the long diagonal and the control of the e4 square. I can't go for any pawn push. Queen f2, queen h4 is an option. Let's go that way. Although I'm pretty sure that this is not dangerous. The a4 pawn I'm not worried about. This is the only case when I'm not worried about that. He is also aware that he should be more worried about his king than the a4 pawn. Now, of course, I would not like to take, but he's forcing me. How shall I do it so that I still have chances? This is tough. This is difficult. This is really not the position I was hoping for. Let's take it and then try to chase this knight away at least. 1 minute and I'm a pawn down. I've got a pair of bishops, but I'm not doing much with them. My opponent has played very well so far. I'm threatening bishop h6, but I'm pretty sure that he will prevent it. I'm pretty sure he will play king h8, for instance, or go back to e4 with the knight. He might just go back to e4. Then queen g4, not to repeat moves, because you know that I don't like to repeat moves. Knight e4, queen g4, knight f6. Yeah, that's the thing. Now, what shall I do? He has prevented my idea, and I'm short on time. Ooh, he will go knight e4 anyway. Man, I don't like my position. And I'm running out of time. I don't like this. I don't like my position at all. I'm trying to bring the rook through the third rank to somehow go with the rook to h3 and attack the king. It's of course not a very good idea. I mean, it's not like... I don't think white has much attack here. And you see I'm stepping into all sorts of stuffs. Nah, I played this very badly, this game. I played this very badly. Now it's still chances for white. I mean, chances to compensate for the pawn because we have opposite colored bishops. Oh, actually, I see a trick. At some point, I could push f6 and then the h7 pawn would be hanging. So I have some tricks here. Of course, I don't want to trade queens. I will not do that. And I didn't want to go queen e4 because that would give away my idea of pushing f6. I go f6 now. Let's do it. I'm not sure that this was the best moment, but hey, this is a blitz game. And I've already... Oh, what is going on here? Why did he do this? I mean, he was just okay. And now he's not. Why did he do this? Okay, I'm gonna sacrifice everything I can. I'm not sure this was the best, but okay. Whoa! That's mate in one. This was such a horrible game. Now I don't have the chance to analyze it all together, and that's a pity because it was very instructive how badly I played this game. First of all, I blundered my e4 pawn. Everybody remembers that, right? Here after f4, knight d7, I forgot about my pawn. I should either play queen f3, yeah, probably queen f3, or move the bishop away, but I can't just give up the central pawn. It's a central pawn and I gave it up for free. And yeah, then I created some counterplay, but once I ran out of time, I was just playing very badly. My only chance was this f6 push, so that's my only chance. If you place your bishop on f6, I mean, that's passive, but perhaps it's okay. And maybe even allowing f6 shouldn't be that bad, but it's a blitz game, and in the end we didn't have time. It's easier to be on the attacking side with no time on the clock than on the defensive side. So I think all in all, Graf, von Palen, you played very well, and I want to congratulate you for the game. You outplayed me in the middle game. You won this e4 pawn, and after that you had a very firm grip on the game. You always control all my threats up until the very end when you run out of time. So I think if it wasn't for the time trouble, you would have at least you would have at least achieved a draw, if not the full point, because you are a pawn up. So good game. Well done, Graf von Pollen. I played very badly, but that doesn't mean that there's no congratulations to the opponent, because he forced me into situations where I made mistakes. So it's always the merit of your opponent. I can't just say I played bad and that's it. No, my opponent played very well, and he defended very well also in the critical situation. So well done. In the end, I was just lucky that we were in time trouble and I created a mating attack, which wasn't even, I think it wasn't even winning, by the way, but after having no time on the clock, and here you gave me the pawn. So you can play, no, you can't play h6 because then queen e4. Sorry that I'm checking about this. I guess you like it when it's about mate, right? So there was no way to prevent it immediately this way. g6 still possible, and I don't have queen h5, so I don't have this sacrifice. This is just one check, but the king goes to g7. So I think even after this f6 push, which looks very scary, I think you could still hold the position. You don't need to give me the h7 pawn, but it was just a lack of time, I'm sure. Thanks for the game. Let's go for the next one. Let's go for the next one. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, Graf von Pollen, that in the end it was just a crazy mess. If you play g6, I think white still has some initiative. I mean, I gave up 2 pawns, so don't think that I'm doing very well, but bishop g7. I should try to bring the queen here, but objectively speaking, black should be just fine here with a pawn or 2 pawns up and being able to defend the king. Thank you for the game. Let's go for the next game, because I promise that today I will play loads and loads of games, so I will not delve into any of the games in the post-mortem too much, but I try to play as many games as possible. I see some new usernames, so let me accept the ones that I haven't heard of yet. Cobra from Germany. Nice to meet you. How can I always play with the white pieces? I mean, seriously, guys, I didn't ask for it. e4. And I promise that if it's the Sicilian, I will play somewhat better. At least I will try not to blunder my most important pawn, which is, of course, the e4 pawn. Cobra, are you here with us? I will wait for a few seconds, but if you're not here, I don't think you're right that I can't lose even if I want to give you guys a chance. I didn't do it on purpose. I did not. Now, who was here last week? Let's test it, because last week I played the 2 knights variation against the Caracan defense, this variation here. And there's a trick in this variation. If black takes on e4 and then plays bishop f5, then he is stepping into a famous trick. Shall we see if Cobra knows it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, actually you might just know it even if you were not here with us last week. Let's see if he knows it. Bishop f5, will he play bishop f5 or not? Cobra, I'm testing your opening knowledge. How does it feel to be examined? I don't think you will play bishop f5. I think you will play knight f6. Or knight d7. Knight f6, I think. What do you guys think? Bishop f5, knight f6, knight d7. Any other move? Knight f6. I guessed it. I guessed the move. And I'm proud of you that you didn't step into the trap. So you know your stuff. You know your opening very well, the Caracan. Black can take back with the e or the g pawn, depending on how he wants to play. And this is a solid setup for black. It is considered to be slightly better for white, but it's not a big deal. So you see that black has doubled pawns, but it's a very solid setup. White has a pawn majority on the queen side, 4 pawns versus 3. And both players will castle normally. King side. Do you want to play bishop g4 and then threaten my h2 pawn? I will just go rook e1 first and see what you do with your king. I'm expecting you to castle king side. So the point is here that white has somewhat more space thanks to the d4 pawn and the better control of the center. Also, this 4 versus 3 on the queen side should give you some slight advantage in endgames, but it's not a big deal. As I said, it's a very solid setup. And now I need to think what to do with this c1 bishop. There's no clear way of developing that piece. You might think b3 bishop b2. It's a possibility, but it doesn't have a diagonal there, nor I can place it on f4, nor anywhere else. e3 is also not looking very tempting. So I don't have a very good spot for the bishop as for now. And later I think he wants to play bishop g4. So you should always think about the opponent's idea as well. Sometimes prophylactic moves like h3 make a lot of sense. So you prevent bishop g4 for good. And there will be no hanging pawn on h2. You can move away the knight. I might want to play knight h4, knight f5 later on. I really like this maneuver. Even though my bishop is not developed, but I don't have a good spot for the bishop. So first I want to see how he reacts to knight f5, because after knight f5, I'm threatening his d6 bishop. He might, okay, he got afraid of it, but this move creates a spot for my bishop. I'm not sure it's actually that good for white, of course, because, okay, I played a move which was a tempo and such, but the bishop on h6 is not doing so much. Queen d2, so that if he wants to push g5, I think I can take it. The point is, once you place your bishop on a square like h6, you should make sure that it will not get trapped. So you should always watch out for moves like g5 and black trying to trap your piece on h6. I don't think g5 is any good here. First of all, you might just take on g5, calculate it first. Secondly, it's not threatening anything immediately, so you can play knight f5 and then h4. So you will manage to free your bishop. And g5 is horribly weakening your king. Therefore, if it doesn't win a piece, don't ever try to play that move. I'm going to do the same as my opponent, doubling rooks. Wait a second. I need to think about rook a e1. Bishop takes a2, b3 to try to trap his bishop in case he wants to win a pawn there. a5. Okay, let's claim. Normally you can't take a bishop. You can't take a pawn like the pawn on a2 or on a7, depending on what color you play with, because of a pawn push like b3. So bishop takes a2. I need to see whether I should or should not take on e7 first and then push b3 in order to trap my opponent's piece. So it's kind of similar to how my h6 bishop could have been trapped, but on the queen side, trapping a bishop on a2 is much less dangerous for you because the white king is on the king side. So I'm not afraid of giving up an a2 pawn and then trap my opponent's piece with b3 because my king is far away from that field, far away on the other flank. Now the way to get out of there would be to push a5, a4 as black, but he had to calculate that. I think he's aiming for c5, and I shall think whether I care about this bishop takes a2 possibility. If I play c3, then certainly he can take the pawn. b3, c4 is an option, but I'm not that convinced about it. For now, I'm just going to play solid a3. I don't think the pawn was hanging immediately, but why to wait forever? And yes, after a5, it would have been hanging, and bishop b4 is a possibility. If I push c4, for instance, that would have been a blunder without covering the b4 square. I should speed up, right? Again. All right, this is a funny position where my minor pieces are not doing much, but it makes him not be able to move his pieces away comfortably. c4 gaining some space, but you should always think about this move because it will not make it possible for the d4 pawn to be protected by another pawn. So now I've got like a hanging pawn structure. It's not exactly hanging pawns, but it works in a similar way. c4 and d4 pawns, they are not defending each other. I might want to push d5 or c5 in the right moment, when it works, of course. But the pawns themselves might become weak. Now, luckily for me, all the heavy pieces are on the e file. If the pieces, the rooks, were on the d file, I wouldn't have pushed c4 because the d4 pawn will be too difficult for me to protect. I can bring back my bishop to e3, but that's basically it. He's trying to maneuver his pieces, but where is he heading toward to with this knight? I can't see it, so it is true that it's not easy for me either to improve my position. Okay, I'll come back with the bishop to see whether I can push c5. Where is he going? I'm gonna push c5. It is time to start doing something. It is time for that, for sure. He doesn't give me the pawn, that I can understand. But now I think after c5 I really like my position, but the a5 pawn is a target, it's a weak pawn. For now, of course, I can't take it, but I've gained lots of space for my pieces. Now the f6 pawn is vulnerable as well. So I think I pushed c5 in the right moment and I'm happy with my position. Obviously, it's not a winning position and he's doing well. He's threatening now my bishop. What shall I do about this, actually? f4 he will take, and then my f4 pawn is hanging. But then I take on f6. Let's do this. Knight takes, queen takes, bishop takes f4, bishop takes f6. Who wins in that position? Not sure. This is funny. Of course, always when the most interesting part of the game. Oh, he prevented it. The most interesting part of the game comes when we run out of time. So he pinned my bishop, but I'm still threatening to take. I think he should take on f4. But, I mean, he should have taken, because now after bishop takes f6, he doesn't have room for his rook. If he had taken a move earlier, then I think that was a better option for him. Okay, he's doing well, at least not allowing me to win the rook. I should play very fast. I should play extremely fast. I'm not fast enough. And knight f3 was just a really bad move, but he didn't take advantage of it. Now he can take on c5. He didn't see it. Oh my god. Oh my. I wanted to take with the pawn, but I'm too slow. I'm too slow. Oh my. Will I lose on time? I might. I might just lose on time. I won on time. Now that I did not expect coming. Of course, this position is winning already, but I messed it up badly by the end of it. Thank you for the game, Cobra. I think you fought very well, especially at the end of the game, because I had lots of pressure after c5. I think here after bishop e3, now c5 is a real threat, and it was very unpleasant because suddenly this a5 pawn is very weak, and finally the f6 pawn is exposed. Now with this pawn structure, you see that black didn't really have a weakness in his pawn chain. The b6 pawn is the weakest, and the f6 pawn as well, but I didn't have a way to attack it. After c5, suddenly the position opens up, and this f6 pawn is exposed, so black has to defend the f6 weak pawn and the a5 weak pawn. Also the c6 pawn is not really strong, and I have 3 versus 2 on the queen side, so I can create a passed pawn in an endgame. That's what it means when you say you have pawn majority on one of the flanks. Now he defended very well, so this knight d7, knight e5, well done Cobra, I think you did well. And here I thought that perhaps the best for you was to take, give me the f6 pawn, but at least your rook was not going to be trapped, and this is not clear. Of course, you should be careful about the long diagonal and such, but even if you have to come back to h6 so that I don't give mate after bishop h8, this is not clear at all. And afterwards, in the time trouble, this was bishop d8 was a very good move, and I played a horrible move, knight f3. You can just take it and then take on h3. So this would have been just at least a draw, but I think black is going to be doing just better here. I completely missed that I don't have a good square after bishop d8 for my knight. It's not hanging immediately, but it's unpleasant for sure. Queen e7 is a threat, double attack. So very well played, Cobra. It was just the time trouble that decided the game in my favor. Well done, well done. Now, new game? What do you guys think? Shall we go for a new game? But let me drink, because I know I promised many games, but sometimes I need a drink. Mint tea? What do you guys have today? Yeah, I agree with you guys in the chat that Cobra played very well. Good game. Good game. And also, congrats for not stepping into the opening trap of the 2 knights variation. So, well done for not playing bishop f5 in that position. Okay, I think I see a couple of new names. Let's go one by one through them. If I can play against all of you, that would be awesome. I try. That's why I'm here every Thursday, so I play against all of you. Shaq Tommy. And for the first time today, I've got the black pieces. French defense, shall we? Today I will play e5. I feel like, I don't know. Whoa, knight c3. So you want to play, I mean, this is either the Vienna, or you can play bishop c4 and then it's going to be like the bishop opening. Which one are you aiming for? I'm gonna go with knight f6. You can play either knight f6 or knight c6. I was trying to figure out what setup my opponent wanted. Bishop c4. Now this could be like an Italian, but it won't be, because knight f3 is not the best move here. d3 and f4, that's what white wants to play. I'm trying to recall the best variation against this, because I play this as white as well, but in a blitz game it's more difficult to remember, right? d6 is a possibility, I'm pretty sure of that. Bishop e3 I haven't seen. Looks interesting. It is interesting, but is it the best? I was thinking about taking a knight g4, but it's not threatening enough. So yeah, this is interesting actually. I'll just castle, let you take on c5 if you want to, because that pawn structure, even though it's double pawns, gives me a good control of the center. So I'm not afraid of bishop takes c5, d takes, because that gives me a very good control of the d4 square. And now you see I'm heading toward the d4 square. Whether he takes or not, my knight could land on d4. He wants to push b4 and force me to do something about the bishop, but then I can go bishop b6 as well. Or the other thing that you might want to do, if you are scared that your bishop will be taken, is a6. But I'm not scared about that. So let's do the same as he did. Bishop e6. I'm not sure it's the best, by the way, because now he could have taken and doubled all my pawns. So yeah, we have a funny structure here, looking very similar. Now knight d5, I think is a good move, although bishop takes e6 was also very promising, I think, for white. I don't want to copy him. So how can I make this position be somewhat different? Let's take this knight with the bishop. Of course, if you take with the knight, then it's losing a piece due to e takes d5. You know that I always try to find some kind of an imbalance in the position, because that is usually the way you can create an interesting game. And I'd want this to be as interesting for you guys as possible. Also, I want to play for a win against anyone. And that's the other reason why I want to find some kind of a difference in the position, whether it's giving up my bishop or having the pair of bishops or the pawn chain. Some kind of an imbalance you need so that it's not completely a boring position. Now, I've done this, but how will I get more out of this position? I think even though I didn't want to, I will have to take here, attack that pawn, see if he takes on c5 or not, or just pushes c4. I will play f5, threatening f4, trying to expand there. Now this is a funny position. We both have doubled pawns and it's just one knight each. I'm running out of time. Just to say something new today, Anna is running out of time. Let's drive the knight toward the king side, and if I could bring the queen as well, I might have some attacking chances. Bring the rook to e8, bring the queen. Whoa, f4 immediately. I did not expect that. Okay, let's see what do we have against e4. I want a passed pawn. Yes, you can take, and you might want to attack this pawn, but I think I will be okay playing rook e8, supporting my beautiful newborn passed pawn. I like it. I don't think f4 was good for white. And now g3 certainly is not looking good, weakening the light squares and weakening the white king. But I'm down on the clock, 1 minute and a half. Disadvantage for Anna, just... Oh, actually, if he had played queen e3 first, then it would have been a double attack. Both of my pawns would have been hanging. Maybe I'm not doing so well protecting the pawn after all. He will play rook e1, then I should double rooks on the e file. And if he takes, I will be pinning the knight and win the knight. So he can't take now because of rook e8. But if he could... Yeah, he's doing it. He's bringing now the rook as well to attack my pawn. And I can't bring the knight to the defense of this pawn. So maybe, after all, it wasn't a very good idea from my part to play this way. But I will not give up on hope. h4, h5, h4 or queen g4, knight h4 are some options that I have. And if I could bring the knight somehow, how can I maneuver this knight? I don't have a chance to bring it quickly to d6. That's a problem. That's a problem, guys. I don't like it. I don't like it. I will go for some tricks. Knight h4, knight f5 I want to play, or knight h4, knight f3, of course, even better if I get there. But I don't think he will let me play knight h4. He might just move the king away from the g file. And yes, in the end, this pawn is about to fall. What is this queen f2 about? He wants to take my pawn, but he's allowing me knight h4. Surprising. This still might work, of course, if he moves the king away right now, and that is what he's doing. But now after knight f3, he's getting into trouble. Suddenly my knight is very strong. If he takes on e4, I will take on e1. And if he moves the rook away, I can go knight d4, and I'm just very active. I could have also played e3. I guess e3 was a better move, but I can still do it. Knight f5 and then e4. Well, suddenly this pawn, this post pawn is a monster. Look at that. Okay, don't be too excited, Anna, because you don't have time. You don't have time. Let's push the pawn as much as possible and then defend it. Knight f3, then he will take. But now he can't. I mean, he's stepping into this. He's stepping into losing an exchange. He's losing an exchange. And now more material. I'm winning lots of material, guys. 39 seconds, but at least I've taken the rook. So this is winning. But Shah Tommy might not want to resign. So I need to take another piece and win with the rook up, which shouldn't really be difficult in this position, of course. Just threaten rook e1 to win the queen, and that should do the job. That should do the job. Let's see if Shah... No, thank you, Shah Tommy. I was wondering if you would want to play for my time, but in this position I think it's already hopeless. Unfortunately, I'm a slow player, but with a queen up, I usually manage to win even with a few seconds on the clock. Now, what was difficult for me is this position. If you didn't allow now knight h4, I think you played very well, by the way. In this f4, I underestimated how vulnerable my pawn might be. First of all, if queen e3 immediately, I've got two pawns that are hanging, e4 and c5. So perhaps this e4 push was not even good. I'm going to lose one of the pawns. Okay, I can play queen e7, but that's not what I wanted. That's the place where I want my rook. So this is not good. I'm sure that afterwards, knight c3, rook e1. Now you will definitely capture the e4 pawn. So yeah, I think I was too optimistic pushing e4, but it paid out for me because g3 was a loss of a tempo. And it gave me enough time to at least bring the rooks, double rooks. Even here, after queen g4, I thought I'm just playing for tricks and playing for knight h4, which to me looked like a trick. I thought if you go king h1, then what's my next move as black? I wish I had my knight on f5, but I can't just place it there. I don't have a good maneuvering square for this knight. I want to place it on f5 or d6, somewhere where it's supporting the passed pawn, or d4. Of course, that would be a dream come true, but I can't. On g6, it's a very clumsy piece, and thanks to queen f2, I had just enough time to maneuver my knight to a better square, and from that moment, I think from here on, black is better. It's just now all my pieces are working and this passed pawn starts marching, so from here on, black should be winning. But it's all because of this knight h4, knight f5 move, so I think you just made one mistake, allowing knight h4. Without that, I think you were just doing very well. And this f4 move, I completely underestimated the power of your move. Allowing e4 was actually, I think, a good idea for white, not so much for black. So I stepped into your trap. Shocked on me. Congratulations, you did very well. It was a very instructive game for me too, because I was very optimistic about the power of this e4 pawn, but in the end it was a vulnerable pawn. Passed pawns can be very strong or very weak, depending on how your pieces are coordinating. And my knight, my problem was my knight. If my knight was not on g6, then I would have had a strong pawn with the knight here. This is a bad position for black as far as the pawn. So after king h1, how I'm gonna protect this pawn? Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, difficult position. I can't protect this pawn. And if you don't want to be pinned, you can take and then move away the queen, or queen f2 and then take the pawn, as in the game, but with the king on h1. So well done, Shah Tommy. Thanks for the game. I think you played very well, really. Just one mistake. Well done. Let's see if we have time for one more game or two. Who knows? I just want to have a really quick look at the chat. Say hi once again to everyone here on Chess24 watching. I hope that I can accept your challenge. Challenge me once again for a 5-minute blitz game. Today is many games session. No name yet, but can you please suggest a cool name for the show when it's about loads of blitz games, and a cool name for the show when it's about analyzing more in the post-mortem? Let me see. Thank you, let me win a slow but unstoppable win. Well, I'm really slow today, that is completely true. I think I'm below on the clock in every game, like with a minute at least. So maybe the objective for me for the last game, if it's the last game, should be to play as quick as possible. What do you guys think? Like, can I manage? Today I'm slow. My brain is not working. Ocean Racer. Hi, nice to meet you. It's your turn. And while you make your move... Okay, I don't have time. I was going to say while you make your move, I'm gonna check the chat. Let's go back to the French defense, because this e5... Sometimes I do play e5. Oh, d3. Haven't had that variation in my Banter Blitz sessions. Of course it's interesting. The King's Indian attack setup. And there are plenty of possibilities for black on how you can react to this. Which one shall I go for? That's a good question. From Anna to Anna. I ask myself questions, you know that. Okay, let me think. I know some tricky ones. The best move order for that would be... Okay, let's go with knight c6 first. No, wait a second. How can I do that? I know one that is really tricky, but I need to go for the right move order. Okay, knight c6 is not the main line here, of course. But there are some tricky positions. And I'm aiming for one of those. I just wish I could remember properly. Sometimes I can't. It's with bishop c5 that I remember. And knight f6. But I'm messing up the move order, I think. Yes, my knight would need to be on f6 already. Anyway, it's still the same case, so this is the setup. Okay, it's actually not so tricky, but I call it tricky because it is not a French defense anymore. If you look at this structure, would you ever say that it started out as a French defense? The answer is no, I guess. Now it looks like a Philidor defense, reverse colors. So that is the tricky thing about it. But maybe, yeah, bishop c5 was not the best move order, because now I completely stepped into this. Why I'm losing my pawns in every game, guys? I have to go this way, and after b5, knight a5, and if knight takes e5, queen f6, knight f3. No, I don't have a trick. Bishop d6, then he would have taken my d5 pawn. Today I'm blundering my pawns, my central pawns. Don't blunder your most important pawns. That's today's conclusion. Don't do that. Why did I do this? No idea. How to make it not so bad? Is there a way not to make it so bad? Knight takes e5, queen f6, and he's gonna go knight d to f3, and everything is protected. I should find a way to do something there. Bishop, no, I wish I could just bring the bishop quickly and bring then the rook to the d8. Today is a thematic tournament for me about how to blunder either my not even my e or d pawns. I always blundered my e pawn. Why is it happening to me? d4 is of course also good. I was expecting knight d to f3 and then bishop g5 is the threat of white. But this should do the job as well. I'm just a pawn down. Today, guys, I'm lose a pawn in a few moves in the opening, completely like a patzer. But that makes the games very interesting. I should go creative. I should create something out of nothing, because black has nothing for the pawn. I've got a tiny bit of an advantage in development, but my knight on g8 wouldn't claim the same. Of course, I want to go for something that could be complicated, therefore I'm gonna go castle queenside and try to attack with my pawn down. Guys, why I'm doing this today? Losing all my pawns like a real patzer today. Today I blunder my pawns. Why do I do this? Okay, let's create compensation for the lack of material. Activate your pieces. I want to bring this knight to f4. Announcing it right now. If he takes my knight on the way toward f4 on g6, I'm gonna open the h file. So now if knight g6, bishop g5 traps my queen. Careful about that. So you have to go h6 first, but that kind of destroys my idea of knight g6 and taking back on g6 with the h pawn. That's life. You can't always achieve everything you have planned. Still, h6 is good because next move I can play g5. And you know that opposite side castling is about going for those pawn storms, attacking the opponent's king. And even though it looks like white is also doing fine with his pawn storms, this pawn on b5 is not helping him. Because of pushing b5 early to win my pawn, which was of course a very good move, but it's not helping him now because I could block his queenside pawn storms. My knight on a5 and my bishop on b6 are perfectly placed so that white cannot push a4, a5 or c4, c5. I mean, c4 I'm gonna take, and a4, a5, there's just no way to push to a5. So I'm blocking the queenside. That's a good thing in my position. Now if knight g6, he might just want to take it, but it's okay, that's life. I mean, I can't prevent everything. With a pawn down, yeah. My bishop on b6, by the way, is pretty passive, so it's doing well, preventing white's queenside attack, but it's not the most active piece in the world. The same can be said about the a5 bishop. No, I'm blundering again. No, I can't take with the bishop because of bishop e7. And if I take with the rook, then c4, I move the rook away and then d5 with the same idea. Jeez, I need to find a trick there. Is there a trick? I need to find a trick. Where's the trick? Is there a trick? There might not be one. There might not be one and I don't have time. I'm gonna take with the rook because I want him to open up I want him to open up the diagonal for this bishop, but actually I'm blundering my bishop too because c4, c5. I'm hoping that there would be something on the d5, but no, it's not true. I just blundered. This was a horrible game. I blundered so badly. c5. This was the worst game I played today. That's clearly the worst. He doesn't even have to take back on d5, on c5 with the d pawn, so this was just clearly totally bad. I will make a few more moves, but I'm completely lost. I'm completely lost. Gonna laugh at myself for a while for this game. I played completely badly. Totally badly. Just blundering a pawn first and then blundering my piece. Very sad game. Yes, this is not a good goodbye game, and I need to stop playing and resign in this moment before I lose all my pieces. This was very poor. This was a very poor quality game. Let's just go through it because Ocean Racer, you played very well. You completely outplayed me. And I stepped into all of your tricks. First of all, guys, if you want to play this line, do it with knight f6 first. I forgot the move order. Knight f6, c3, e5. This is what I wanted. Now, if you do it with bishop c5 first, you are risking the chance of stepping into losing your pawn. Today, I did lose all my pawns. Losing one pawn is not the end of the world. So, I wouldn't be so angry at myself if I only lost a pawn. But in this position, how can I play knight g6? I completely forgot about my opponent's possibility of opening the e5. I expected him to push e5, and after moving the queen, I thought this is not too bad. I will play g4 later, or just something. It's of course not a good position for black, but you are surviving. Now, I completely forgot about e takes d5, after which I'm lost, I believe. I can't take with the bishop because of bishop e7. Okay, I think, objectively speaking, if you know that you are losing material, you should go for this position, because you can still try to mess it up by taking on f3, for instance. And now, if queen takes, at least you are not losing your exchange. So, yeah, this is a lost endgame, and you're gonna lose your g6 pawn and such, so this is just bad. Or, if white wants to win the exchange immediately, he might just take back with the g pawn. You will have to move your queen, and then he takes your rook. So, this is bad as well, but at least what you achieved is that the white king is weaker. But in hopeless positions, you should find a way that is the most complex, at least. Of course, this is a bad position for black, but at least there are some practical chances due to the weakened king. So what I played, I reacted even worse, because rook takes d5 is a complete joke. This move after c4, I'm totally lost. Unless I take here. I don't believe in it, though. Why did I not try rook takes d4? Anyway, still c5. But I'm trying to see if there's a chance that after capturing, of course, if the rook on d4 is taken, then after bishop takes d4, I have a double attack. The rook on a1 and the pawn on f2 are hanging. So this would be something that I aimed for, you know, some complications, and you are winning back the sacrificed material. But after rook takes d4, there must be something better than this for white. c5 though, and now rook d8, threatening the d3 bishop. But now he takes. Yeah, I don't think this was possible. I mean, I should be lost. Objectively speaking, I should lose material in every line in that position. So congratulations, Ocean Racer. I just completely fell for this position, and I forgot about e takes d5, which is because of your very good play. First of all, winning the pawn on e5, and then bishop rook e1 and bishop a3. Very well played. I just didn't even realize that this is so dangerous. out of nowhere, out of a position where black is a pawn down, suffering, but there's nothing concrete. You landed in a winning position just 2 moves later, so well done. You played so well. And I played so lame, but that's me. You played very well. Congratulations, Ocean Racer. Thanks everyone who tuned in today. The last game was pretty lame, and also the other game where I blundered my central pawn will not be in my best games collection. The rest of the games I think were decent, but today I'm clearly slow and not very sharp. It happens to all of us. So these streams should remind you that we all have good and bad days. Today was clearly a bad day for me. Next Thursday I'll be back, and I hope not to blunder my central pawn next Thursday. Please let me know in the chat or on YouTube, how would you name my show when it's a Banter Blitz with many games, and when it's a Banter Blitz with more teaching, more instructions. I hope that you enjoyed this session, even if I played completely lame the last game, and I will be back next Thursday. See you by then, and have a very nice weekend. Bye bye.